There are certain things you should never do after dark. In a small village in Nigeria, people know one simple rule: never whistle at night. For Tunde, it was just another story his grandmother told him, a story about spirits and shadows, but Tunde was about to discover that some legends are real. It was a normal day in the village. The sun was shining and Tunde was busy playing with his friends. His grandmother had warned him many times, never whistle when the sun goes down. But that night, curiosity would get the better of him. In a small village in Nigeria, there lived a boy named Tunde. He was like any other boy his age, curious, playful, and full of energy. Tunde loved exploring the forests near his village, running through trees and climbing rocks with his friends. He was always looking for new adventures. But there was one thing Tunde's grandmother always warned him about.
Tunde, never whistle at night.
Why, Grandma? What will happen if I whistle at night? Tunde asked.
Whistling at night calls the spirits of the forest and shadows. Bad things happen when they are disturbed.
The grandmother answered with a serious tone. Like many children, Tunde didn't believe in such tales. He thought they were just stories meant to scare him. But he nodded anyways, because deep down he respected his grandmother. One evening, after spending time with his friends, Tunde was walking back home. The night was cool and calm, and the only sound was the chirping of crickets. The path back to his house was quiet, too quiet. Tunde suddenly remembered his grandmother's warning. The thought came to him like a whisper on the wind. Don't whistle. But instead of feeling scared, Tunde felt curious. He wanted to prove that nothing would happen. So, with the moon shining above him and the shadows of the trees dancing on the ground, Tunde began to whistle softly at first, then louder, looking around with a confident smile. At first, everything seemed normal. The night remained still. Tunde chuckled to himself. See? Nothing happened, he thought. And then, suddenly, the wind began to blow harder. The trees swayed, their branches creaking as if they were whispering secrets to each other. Tunde's smile faded as the air around him grew cold. The once gentle breeze now felt like icy fingers brushing against his skin. He started to feel uneasy. Then, from the darkness, a sound emerged, a soft, unsettling hiss. Tunde's heart raced. He looked around but saw nothing. As he took a step back, a large black snake appeared from the shadows, its eyes glowing like burning coal. The snake moved slowly, but with purpose, as if it had been summoned. Fear gripped Tunde. He tried to remember his grandmother's warnings, but it was too late. He had called something far worse than just a snake. Suddenly, eerie laughter echoed from the trees, bouncing off the trunks and filling the air. Tunde turned in every direction, but no one was there. The shadows on the ground began to move, creeping closer to him as if alive. Terrified, Tunde tried to run, but no matter how fast he ran, the village seemed farther and farther away. The path twisted and turned, leading him deeper and deeper into the forest, as if the land itself was playing tricks on him. His legs grew tired and his chest burned from running, but there was no escape. The wind howled louder and the shadows grew taller, blocking out the moonlight. Tunde suddenly heard his grandmother's voice echoing in his head.
If you ever get lost, close your eyes and listen to the wind. The spirits may guide you back.
Tunde remembered his grandmother's advice. In his desperation, he closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He tried to block out the hissing, the laughter, the whispers of the spirits. He focused on the sound of the wind, just as she had told him. Slowly, the eerie sounds faded, replaced by the distant hum of the village. Tunde took a step forward, then another, following the faint sounds of home. When he opened his eyes, Tunde found himself standing at the edge of the village, safe at last. The cold air was gone and the shadows had disappeared. He was back where he belonged. Without wasting another moment, Tunde ran to his grandmother's house. He burst through the door, breathless and scared. "Grandma, I whistled. I shouldn't have," Tunde said, panting.
I warned you, my child. The spirits are not to be taken lightly.
His grandmother held him close, understanding the fear in his heart. She knew he had learned his lessons the hard way. The next morning, the village children gathered around Tunde. They had heard the story and their eyes were wide with curiosity and fear. "Is it true? Did you really call the spirits?" a child asked. "Yes, and I'll never whistle at night again," Tunde answered. From that day on, Tunde never whistled after dark, and neither did the other children. The village had been reminded of the old legend, "Never call what you cannot control." The legend of the night whistler lived on, passed down from generation to generation, and everyone knew that when the night fell, it was better to stay silent and leave the spirits undisturbed.